In 1944, during one of the bloodiest battles of World War II, Allied soldiers reported seeing something impossible. A bear, carrying live artillery ammunition under fire. His name was Wojtek, Private Wojtek, and for decades his story was dismissed as a myth until his military records were found. But Wojtek's journey didn't begin on the battlefield. It started with tragedy, a refugee camp, and a group of homeless soldiers searching for hope. (1942). A remote mountain road in Iran. A young boy appears, carrying a burlap sack that won't stop moving. Inside was an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub. His mother, killed by hunters. His future, unknown. But fate intervened in the most unexpected way. Passing through that same area was a column of Polish soldiers, refugees who had survived Soviet prisons, starvation, and forced marches across thousands of miles. They had lost everything, except their sense of compassion. The boy needed food. The soldiers had it. And in exchange for a few cans of meat and some chocolate, they unknowingly purchased a future war hero. The cub was adopted into a Polish refugee camp. An 18-year-old girl named Irina bottle-fed him milk from a repurposed vodka bottle. He followed soldiers everywhere, imitated them, slept beside them in their tents. They named him Wojtek, meaning the joyful warrior, and he lived up to the name. He learned to stand, march on command, and even salute. Not because he was trained as a trick, but because he copied the only family he had ever known. As the Polish army prepared to join Allied forces in the Middle East, they faced one problem. British regulations strictly forbade mascot animals aboard military transport ships. So the Polish officers did the only logical thing and enlisted the bear. Private Wojtek, rank soldier, pay grade rations. He had his own serial number, his own berth on the ship, and, technically, his own paycheck. This was no joke. It was the only legal way to keep their friend, their morale, their symbol with them. In 1944, Wojtek arrived in Italy. His unit, the 22nd Artillery Supply Company, was sent to one of the toughest fronts of the entire war, the Battle of Monte Cassino. The fighting was brutal, terrain almost impossible, supply lines fragile. But Wojtek didn't panic. He didn't hide. He stood upright, lifted 100-pound crates of artillery shells, and carried them to the cannons. To the soldiers watching, it didn't feel remarkable. It felt natural. Wojtek was one of them. After the battle, the 22nd Company changed their emblem. No more abstract artillery symbol. Instead, a bear holding a shell. A real war story, immortalized in a military insignia. When the war ended, Polish soldiers faced a heartbreaking reality. They couldn't return home. Their country was absorbed behind the Iron Curtain. Their families were gone. Their homeland changed. But one friend remained constant, Wojtek. He traveled with them to Scotland, living on a British military base, still visiting barracks, still saluting familiar voices. But when the unit disbanded, the soldiers made a painful decision. They sent their bear, their brother, to live safely at the Edinburgh Zoo. Veterans who visited him reported something extraordinary. Wojtek would perk up at hearing Polish spoken, as if he still remembered his old unit. Wojtek died in 1963, but his legend didn't. Today, statues stand in Poland, Italy, and Scotland. Soldiers still tell his story. Children's books retell his adventures, and historians continue debating where the line between fact and myth truly lies. But here's what everyone agrees on. In a world torn apart by war, a bear brought hope to displaced men who had lost everything. He carried more than ammunition. He carried morale, brotherhood, and a reminder of home. And that is why, more than 80 years later, the world still remembers Private Wojtek, the joyful warrior who fought without ever understanding the meaning of war.